It feels like a perfect throw. Now let's go toss some plastic. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we find ourselves in Carrollton, Georgia at Hobbs Farm, the 28th ranked course in the entire world. Now I walked past 2 tee pads to get here. I don't need a 700-foot hole for hole 1, but the short is still plenty long enough. So I think we're gonna have a long day ahead of us. 486 feet, throwing completely blind, big ante shot downhill. I am gonna go with my Hades and I am very excited to get this round started. Nice and soft. I know that didn't go very far, but it should leave us in an okay spot. Let's get started. I grossly underestimated how much anhyzer we needed off this tee pad. We hyzered out, we're way over here. We still have 181 feet, and as you can see, we have a pretty low ceiling, so I'm gonna have to throw it quite a bit harder. Hopefully we get some ground play. I'm gonna go with my Rhino. Slide up there. That is exactly what we were looking for. For the 3, hole 2, 780 feet. The basket is way down in the woods somewhere. I do see this opening. That's our landing zone. That's still about 450 plus feet away. I'm just gonna go with my Halo Wraith, hopefully get a nice little S-flight. Have a plan for shot number 2. Oh. Yeah, the arm was not warmed up enough for all that. I'm sure we're gonna be struggling. So we are still forever away from the basket. As you can see, we have this tight gap in front of us and then it starts arching off to the right. The basket is tucked down there. Now, honestly, the smart play would probably just be envy. Throw my envy nice and straight, then attack the pin. I'm gonna try to get a little extra distance for no reason other than it could be a fun shot with my Valkyrie. Oh yeah, that was a pretty good throw. I mean, we're not gonna have a putt or anything, but it was pretty nonetheless. We do have an outside chance at the 3, but it is a long one, probably around 90 feet. Oh, I don't think you can see it. I clipped this tiny little branch. I don't think it would have made it there anyway, but it's pretty lame. Real quickly, guys, as you can see, there are 2 baskets. Now, we will be playing to the greens. That is where all the tee signs are measured off from. All the footages go to the greens. It was really bad timing for the explanation because we actually are gonna go with the orange basket on this one because we are on the short tee pad. We have that beautiful pin location and the longs just make it a blind uphill shot. So we have 193 feet elevated pin. I'm gonna go with the Envy. Oh, a little short. For some reason, I went really high with that shot and just noodled it. Always gotta love a great pin location. One thing I noticed about Hobbs Farm is that it's designed by John Houck, I think is how you pronounce his last name. I've played a handful of his courses, and one thing about him is he loves placement shots. So playing his courses for the first time can be very difficult because you're not entirely sure where you're aiming for, but his designs are always elite. They're top tier. The first playthrough will probably get you though. Hole 4, 543 feet, and this is an absolute blast of a tee shot. It is going downhill, and we have to go with a massive anhyzer. The basket is tucked away somewhere down there. I am a little worried about the leaves on the ground for this one, but we are just gonna try to ignore them. Go with my hardest disc to find, and that is my Champion Boss. Oh. Man, that was thrown so hard. We are gonna be in a world of hurt. I was really excited about that one. So we are in a very tricky lie. The basket, I can't get it on camera, but basically where you start to see the lush green come in, that's where the basket is. And we are super pinched off. We need to get a ton of turn and then have the stability kick back in. Really tough flex shot, about 350 feet still. Oh, have enough height. Oh my gosh, come back. Oh, okay, well, it was hanging straighter than I thought, but we pinballed back. I think we'll have somewhat of a throw at it. We are about 92 feet away. It is a good thing we didn't kick much further because there's a little creek kind of running through here protecting the basket. I'm just gonna go with a high hyzer putt. Hopefully we can knock down one long one by the time the round's done. We had to go with a little throw there. That's a little too far for me to putt. For the 4, hole 5, 338 feet. We have kind of a tricky little tunnel shot here with a low ceiling right off the tee pad. I'm gonna try to get a nice little flip up with my champion leopard. Oh, it's so low, Hunter. Big slide. Ay, ay, ay. I mean, we're gonna have a long putt, but my goodness. I've been throwing so low lately and I don't know why. I know I am playing a little more timid. Rolling into these big juggernaut, you know, championship design courses, you don't want to go too crazy because you can end up well above par very quickly. Oh, dang, it would have been cool to make the putt after that, but you know, I didn't. Hole 6, 324 feet. We are going slightly downhill the entire way. Now you can go with kind of a really slow turning sidearm shot or a very slow turning backhand shot. I am gonna go with the hex, hopefully ride this right side, hit that gap, get a left finish. Oh. Gotta play better. Got to play better. Well, after all the Plinko action, we have left ourselves an 80-footer. This is definitely one. This is not an easy hole, but one I feel like I should have left myself a much closer putt. Hopefully, we can knock this one down. Oh, good lines, just coming up a little short. I think it might just be a par train kind of day. One thing that does set this course apart that I think is so important and I wish for almost every time I play a wooded course, we have green baskets and orange baskets, both of which stand out. Most of the time when you play super wooded courses, you cannot see them at all because they are just steel colored baskets. But these orange and green ones, game changers, huge. Every course in the wood should have those. Maybe not necessarily Prodigy, but those colors. Hole 7, 575 feet. And as you can see, it is very difficult. We are going uphill the entire way. The basket's on the other side of the hill, and if you overturn anything, it's gone forever. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up in stability with our Firestorm, sacrifice some distance, but we should be able to avoid all of this right side. That's a good throw. That's good enough. All right, that'll get the job done. You guys should be able to see the basket. From my lie, I cannot. And this is a very difficult up and down. We still have a lot more hill to climb. I think we have about 245-ish feet. I'm gonna have to go with a little flex shot. I'm gonna disc up a little because of the elevation with my Kotuku. I think we're gonna need a decent skip to have a chance to knock down this 3. All right, we got the skip, wasn't very big. We did hit our line. The low ceiling plus the extreme height gain, it'd be so hard to hit that cleanly. The uphill continues to fight us every step of the way. I would say we still have about 63 feet kind of up and over this little ridge for the 3. Come on. Deep? Deep? We need one. Hole 8, and this is a tricky one, 291 feet. As you can see, we go downhill and we go downhill in a hurry, and the basket's tucked off to the right. This would be a very hard, very touchy turnover backhand shot. The forehand is a little tricky as well because this tree kind of takes away that big flex shot. Oh, dang, I hope that, I don't know if you guys saw it, that was terrible ground reaction. I thought we were gonna get a nice skip up and we like hit a root perfectly and just bounced backwards. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very salty about these roots. I think we could have had a good skip, maybe even a little run at it. Hole 9, 471 feet. As you can see, we kind of want more of a flip up to then a baby hyzer afterwards. The basket is tucked somewhere way down there to the left. I'm gonna go with my champion boss. Oh, that one tree, it was locked onto that tree the second I let the disc go. That was shaping up so beautifully. Ah, dang it. As you can see, we're in a world of hurt. We're still 221 feet away. Now, the camera has this great just kind of up the middle shot, but that does not exist for me. This tree is right in the middle, so I have to just go with a high hyzer. I don't think there's any way that we can try to knock down the 3. We essentially have to play for the 4 on this one. I'm gonna go with my scepter. Give me some luck. Oh, so our scepter did end up down here in the squish. Now we do have an outside chance to knock down this 3, probably about 55 feet uphill. Oh, it was kind of weak, Today's hole 9 break, I want to talk about something that has been kind of stirring in my head lately. I've been having a conversation with a few of my AM5 buddies, and you know, you always hear people are just looking for the right disc for them, the right discs, the right setup, the right manufacturer to produce discs that suit their game well. So that got me thinking. I did a little research. Do you have any idea how many discs have been approved by the PDGA? Now I want you guys to pause the video right here, pause it and put it down in the comments before you hear the answer. Over 1,300 discs have been approved, and I don't know how recent, how accurate that number is, but it can't be any lower. Over 1,300 discs. Now, I always think about what's the next step, how's it gonna move forward, and I understand that like that's the business model, right? Make discs that people buy, hype them up, but like, does it stop? Like, is there ever going to be an end? And especially with so much ramping up, I think there's over 150 companies now that produce discs. So like, where is it going to be a few years down the line? I mean, are you going to have 5,000 different molds to choose from? I know some companies can buy like out of production molds from other companies, essentially recreating the same disc with a new name. But I always think like with over 1,300, how many of them could you put in a pile that essentially fly like a T-bird? So when you take every T-bird with the inconsistency of the runs, from the flippiest run to the most overstable run, how many discs would fit exactly in that category of the 1,300? Like, it's gotta be a lot. There's gonna come a point where you might be able to have a stack of like 70 different discs that all fly the same, but yet all fly different because the inconsistencies of the mold. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, it gets to a point where you're just, you know, it is what it is. You just grab a disc, throw it, and see how it flies. I hope you guys are enjoying the content, and if you could take a second, please hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends about the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. And you can always hop on the website, tossingplastic.com, if you're looking to try out some new discs. Mine are just, you know, slightly used and quite a bit cheaper. Thank you. Hole 10, 301 feet. And as you guys can see, the long basket is just hanging out there in the wide open, but that's not what we're aiming for. I believe the shorter basket is tucked way off to the right somewhere up there. So this will be my second forehand off the tee in one round. I couldn't remember the last time I tried that, going with my scepter. Get around there. All right, for me, that was pretty good. Pretty good. Who would have thought that my forehands were the consistent part of my game today? Hole 411, 611 feet, and this is your classic case of just whip your driver out there and then attack the pin on shot number 2. I'm gonna go with my Champion Boss. That's a good shot. Finally got some decent height, but we didn't hit that low ceiling. We'll call that a win. I would say we still have about 220-ish feet to the basket. We have been going uphill from the tee shot, and now we're starting to go back downhill, but there is kind of a low ceiling down there, so we're gonna need a little bit of ground play. I'm gonna go with my Rhino. Oh, it's too high, yep. I literally talked myself through the whole thing, didn't execute it, needed it lower. We still do have an outside chance at the 3, but it is much longer than it should be. We've left ourselves about 50 feet slightly downhill. Hole 12, 453 feet, and this is a very difficult tee shot. As you can see, it's shaping up for like a flip up hyzer, but actually you want to go to the right. So you have to get something super flippy, throw it on that hyzer and try to get a super late flip. Very difficult shot. I'm gonna go with the Hades and probably not execute it very well. All right, we went out there. I don't know. I have no idea what we're gonna be looking at. There is 2 lanes. There is a big flex sidearm lane. We took that big turnover lane. Let's see where we ended up. Our Hades actually made it quite a ways down here. Now our lie is not ideal. And with this branch, this low ceiling, the turnover sidearm isn't even really there. So I'm gonna have to go with a skip shot. With my splice, I would guess we're probably around 120-ish feet away. Oh man, that's the leaves. That was a great angle, but the leaves just immediately snuffed it. We have left ourselves a very, very tricky Annie putt. The trees are mostly covering the basket for me, probably about 35 feet. Oh, nice putt. We needed it. Obviously, as the seasons continue changing, things start to look a lot more gloomy, but I think that has beauty in its own right. But this is the first course I have ever filmed where I wish everything was in full flourish. You know what I mean? To really soak in how beautiful all of this could look. Now, there is a lot of kudzu, which kudzu just looks the same in the summer and winter, but I think this place could be a real gem, minus the 110-degree heat. Hole 13, 277 feet. And as you can see, our first real water hazard. And this is a scary shot, especially with these limbs just kind of hanging down, making the ceiling quite a bit lower. Now that water, I would say, is more just muck. I would not want to go in there, but we are going to go for it. We're going to go with our Kotuku. We got to put some decent turn on it because it is a pretty stable disc, and hopefully leave ourselves a putt. Oh yeah, it's looking good. Oh yeah, the old Kotuku is not scared of the water. It should be a pretty short putt for a much needed 2. Hole 14, 467 feet. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure what the plan is here. I don't know if you want a placement shot, kind of where that wall of trees begins. I don't know if you want a slight hyzer. That's what I'm guessing, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm gonna just rip one up there, and I'm gonna go with my Halo Wraith. It feels like a perfect throw. Nope. Nope. It went this much too long. This much. I probably should have used the rangefinder to figure out when that wall of trees actually came into play. This is definitely a placement shot kind of hole. Even if the Wraith wouldn't have hit these trees, we probably would have went and skipped down the hill. So this is probably best case scenario. We still have 200 feet, slight Annie, low ceiling, and I am blind from my current lie. I'm gonna go with the Rhino. All right, I don't think that fought back as much as we wanted it to, but let's go find out. The Rhino has not been doing the best for us today on these approach shots, and it has left us another long putt, probably around 44 feet for the 3. The putts aren't terrible, but they're not dropping either. Hole 15, 484 feet just that way. I'm not entirely sure where the basket is, but the short tee pad seems to be angled to the left a little bit, so I assume it's right in front of us. We are gaining quite a bit of elevation and have a slight headwind. I'm gonna go with my champion boss. Thought the headwind would do a little bit more, but with throwing up with the elevation, they probably just countered each other out. Let's go see what we got. So we've left ourselves 188 feet. The basket's just kind of sitting out there in the open. I'm gonna go with my Rhino. All right, it's about time that thing did what I thought it would do. For the 3, I just want to let everybody know that I'm skipping hole 16 because let me tell you something, a game that is not fun to play is let me set up my camera and tripod next to a playground. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the case, we always just head down, keep moving forward. Hole 17, 254 feet. Now this shot is pretty spicy. As you can see, we have this creek, swamp, mud, pretty much between here and the basket. Now, we're not going for that one you guys see. Ours is tucked off to the left a little bit. You have to hit the tunnel, otherwise you're gonna be in some trouble. We are gonna go with the Kotuku. Oh, that tee pad terrified me. All right, it worked out pretty good. This wet, I don't know, it's just getting, I mean, it is very slippery, but the deck is not gonna be much better. I don't know what it is. I think just the stability is more comforting, but I throw the Kotuku like 5 times more when I'm on the road versus when I'm home. Oh, didn't take my time. And rounding off our fun day here in Carrollton, Georgia, taking on Hobbs Farm. We have hole 18, 411 feet. As you can see, we're throwing up a mountain for the tee shot. Hopefully, we can just get to the top and then make a play for the pin on shot number 2. I'm gonna go with my Wraith. Oh, I went too high. All right, I think we're up there. We should be able to see the basket. We have left ourselves a very fun little shot to end on here. 186 feet downhill, pinned in between those 2 trees. Maybe we can make something awesome happen with the Envy. Oh no. All right, at least we deserve to hit the tree. That was a poor throw. Unfortunately, we have another anticlimactic ending. I don't know, you tell me, does that make it more exciting or less exciting? And that wraps up today's video at Hobbs Farm, the 28th ranked course in the world here in Carrollton, Georgia. And guys, it goes without question. The #1 thing about this course is the design itself. Without question, this is one of the best courses that I have ever stepped foot on as far as the design goes. You are going to need everything. You're gonna need distance, you're gonna need placement shots, all kinds of different shot shapes. Everything that you have in your toolbox, you're gonna need to bring here and execute to put down a good score. There's 3 to 4 tee pads per hole, and I think 2 baskets on almost every hole as well. So you can really make the distance, make this course as short or as long as you possibly want. Today, we bounced kind of around the white and the blue tees. So we did kind of play a longer layout. Some of the shorts we did play as well. I did not play any of the golds. I don't know if the golds are on all the holes, but I only saw about 2 of them throughout the course. So really, you have a lot of options when playing here at Hobbs Farm. It was a great sight to see some good tee signs. It has been a long time since I've played a course and had some nice, descriptive, accurate tee signs. And it was great to see them, as well as those bright baskets that I mentioned earlier. Really help with the ease of play. And on a championship design like this, those tee signs are crucial for you to be able to enjoy your round and get to the basket. Now, to be nitpicky, because you have to be when you're talking top 30 in the world, some things about this course that I was not the biggest fan of. And you don't really feel secluded out here. There are walking paths, and a few times you go up by big parking lots, and there's some playgrounds. And when you pull up, Udisc takes you the parking lot by hole 1. There's not even a bathroom, which really took me off guard. You can loop around to the bathroom, or you get near it by the time you're on hole 9, you get pretty close, but 14, you go up right next to it. As far as pure disc golf, this course does not get better. This is one of those courses that simply the more you play it, the better you get. I don't think you're really gonna hit a cap like you do on some courses when you play them 500 times in a row. I really enjoyed my time out here. I would love to play some doubles out here. I think it's a great course for that as well. Overall, I'm gonna give Hobbs Farm the solid score of 9 out of 10. The course design is a 10 out of 10. It doesn't get better, but I do think for the full experience, you need some other factors around it that I think this course just does not have. 9 out of 10, still a phenomenal score, very respectable on the channel, and I would recommend anybody, if they find themselves near Carrollton, Georgia, to definitely come check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Now it's your turn to go toss some plastic.